Hi, welcome to Hold the Light, a show for lifelong learners who are curious about the ways we can deepen our connection to our personal and spiritual growth. I'm Lori Gunning Grossman. I'm here to hold the light for the light holders of the world. Today on the show, I'm talking with Bex Urban. Bex is a healer and guide in the world of yoga, Pilates, meditation, and Reiki. Her approach focuses on bringing awareness to our breath as the essential link between mind, body, and movement. She emphasizes finding our center, balancing the body from the inside out, and using physical practice to forge a larger spiritual connection. Her positive energy inspires everyone she works with to show up, release, and build strength. So I met Bex at a spiritual retreat where she led a beautiful breathwork exercise, which encouraged us all to get grounded and connected. I appreciate the work that she does in the world, and so that's why I wanted to talk with her here on Hold the Light. In our conversation, we talk about the act of retreating and how we can retreat in our everyday, including things we can do to help shape our day. We don't necessarily have to go somewhere to retreat. We can do it in our own way at home. She shares wisdoms on the ways to help guide others. We talk about meditation, of course, and taking a sacred pause, and what she suggests people can do on a daily basis to bring greater levels of peace into their lives. If you're wanting to add some new tools to your spiritual toolbox, this conversation is for you. And so, please welcome my guest, Bex Urban. Let's talk about your many years of being in this space of spirituality, because I read that you were first introduced to meditation through your father at the age of 4, and then had many moments throughout your life of tapping into this world of spirituality. Like you met Ram Dass at your home, you met the Dalai Lama. This has been a part of you, is what it sounds like, from the get-go. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 4 and the only girl. And my dad started going to Insight Meditation Society in Barre, Massachusetts. I grew up in Amherst, Massachusetts.
Oh.
And so Joseph Goldstein, Sharon Salzberg, Jack Kornfield, they were just starting it. And I thought he would say, hey, I'm going to go to a day long. Do you want to come? Just like maybe about a year and a half ago, he said, no. When you were little, you used to ask to come with me. Oh. And I have vivid memories of the monks coming and the different teachers coming. And I would sit on my cushion and probably fall asleep. Like it was like a deep nap time for me because it was so still and so quiet. And I knew what I was getting into, right? It wasn't, and I was a very movement, loud, child. So it was like that was something that for some reason just I felt a calling to, I think, because I was going with him.
Yeah.
And so I met a guy who lived in a cave when they interviewed him. And I remember his thick cork bottle glasses that were dark because his eyes, the rods and the cones in his eyes hadn't adjusted. And then Joseph and Sharon's teacher, one of them, other than Deepama, but Munindraji, came to our house a couple of times. And I have a photo of myself I think I was in college, but it might have been in high school when he came and ate dinner with us. And I really feel like those younger years, I was so steeped and marinated in it that it took me a while to realize I found meditation through running. Now I sit. I've gone on meditation retreats, but I really found it through running. And my father turned toward it to help ease and calm his mind, and I think he was sort of seen as alternative at the time. It was the 70s, and being in a, very eclectic town, lots of academics there. I felt like, can't you just be like all the other parents that just can hang out? And, he was hanging out with his physicist friends, or the meditations people were coming over. And so I had respect for it. Now I'm like, oh, I totally get it. That like, what a great Sangha, a wonderful community. And I do think
Yes.
it really did on a underlayering or into my soil and my foundation what powered by peace felt like, even when your mind felt kind of wild.
Mm.
And so in 1994, during college, I took the video of Eric Schiffman. It was on a VHS with Ali McGraw, and I started doing yoga.
Oh, wow.
And I remember being young, my father had this great little room in our house with all of his books. It's still there. And there were yogis in all of the books. And I was like so fascinated by it. And I was a very non-flexible child in terms of I was athletic. But like when I tried to do ballet, they were like, not for you, you know,
Yeah.
in the best way.
Yeah.
And so I found that stillness through movement, through the great outdoors, which I was so happy to be in.
Yeah. Let's talk about that stillness through movement. I love that because your work with Pilates, with yoga, with the movement you've said movement in this conversation and you've mentioned running. And so is that for you a direct line into your spirituality?
I think that was like the elementary level of or fundamental level of me of uncovering, oh, this is the sacred pause, and I'm finding it through movement. And what was so interesting about Eric Schiffman being a primary teacher for me is his book was called Moving into Stillness. And I didn't know it at the time. And I did get to study with him. And he's just wholeheartedly such an embodiment of yoga, living yoga, movement yoga. So the movement piece, I think, was crucial for me as a hook in the best way, because as I sort of got more mature into it, I realized that even in yoga, that the shape shifting is laying the groundwork. It's the launch pad for finding the foundation of stillness, of sitting and watching your mind, because your mind is still moving, right? When I'm on that cushion, it's not like I'm like, whoa, and there's
That's right.
silence and golden light and angels. It's like busy mind. Wait, am I going to attach to that thought? Am I going to let that thought go through me? Right. And so moving, having the movement piece for me was like, oh, now I'm in a different space. I started here and I'm moving through, but my mind might still be looping something or
Mm.
planning for something until I have that moment where I'm like, oh, it's just my breath in my body. Oh, it's just one foot in front of the other. Oh, look at the sky. Like all of these practices that are mindfulness
Mm.
in a spectrum of that's what works for me. And now let's see where follow that path. Where does it lead me?
Yeah.
What does it unspool?
Oh, you make it sound so beautiful and accessible. So, do you actually yourself sit and meditate, or do you find that you do more of your meditation while you're out in nature, while you are moving your body?
So interesting. It's definitely a combination for
Mm.
me. I do my best to sit on the cushion daily
Yeah.
for 20 minutes. If I
Yeah.
know I can't make 20 minutes, I'll put 11 minutes on the timer. The most important part for me is to just keep showing up and to not put it into my life as on my to-do list, because it's how
Mm.
I want to be in the world. And so, that feeling of, oh, it's a specific measurable goal. No, I know I'm a better human in this world if I do it. I know my kids and my husband know I've meditated,
Hmm.
because that whole stimulus and response, there's time in there when I've created that sacred pause.
Yes. Sacred pause. So interesting. I was talking with some people earlier today, Bex, three other women whom I've met through the Carissa Schumacher Freedom Transmissions journey, which is where you and I met on one of those retreats. And the word pause came up many times this morning. Like just that word pause was coming up, so like taking time in the middle of your day to pause when we feel chaotic and we need maybe to get reconnected, or, the sacred pause, as you just mentioned. I just love that that word is coming up for some reason. Obviously, when I hear something over and over in one day, it's telling me something. It's telling me to take a pause, especially when the brain is just like, oh, on this horizontal level, right? Yeah, I love that. So getting back to what I just said, so you and I met on one of these journeys, as they say, and it is a retreat. People call it a retreat. It's a different kind of retreat. It's not like, there's no spa things or anything like that. It's a very particular, you come for lessons type of thing. But I know that you're big into retreats also. And when we were exchanging like some emails, you use the word retreating because, first of all, you do your own retreats. You lead retreats. And then you use the word retreating, which I thought was so interesting. So what does retreating mean to you?
So for me, the offering of retreating, that verb of like something that's happening, right? First, you're taking the retreat, you're enrolling in, okay, I'm going to retreat. And then the retreating is that actively turning away from your quote unquote daily activities and turning toward the inner landscape of inquiry. How am I living? Is my interior really matching what's happening on the outside? And in the retreating, it's not about, oh my gosh, I need 48 hours. I need 3 days as a vacation from my life. It's about how can I use the retreating so that in my life, I can cultivate daily moments to feel the retreat aftertaste and to integrate what I have regulated that was dysregulated in my system because life can be intense. So, it's such an interesting time to be with people when they choose to retreat. So in the course of the last 18, 19 years that I've been, well, I guess it's 19, 20 years, it doesn't matter. It's that I've been guiding these to watch. You don't need a lot of time in terms of 3 days, 4 days. You need to be present in the moment. So mine are typically Friday through Sunday, mostly because I know that allows people to have the continuity in the thread. They can arrive on a Friday, right? They don't have to fully cut out of work. They can have a half day if they need to, and they leave on Sunday or they hang out all of Sunday. And we pack in like what I would say is as much invitation for what wants to be of service to ourselves. So, right, none of it is a have to. It's all, you get to do this. What do you want to participate in? And there's a deep, deep offering of permission to feel. And in the permission to feel is, wow, I bypassed so much in my life by checking off my to-do list, right? And we know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, that no one before their last breath is like, I needed more time in the office.
That's right.
I should have stressed about this, right?
That's
Everybody's
right.
like, why didn't I find connection? Why didn't I make time to call so-and-so? And that's that acts of love, whether they're received or not, just for acts of love.
Yeah.
And I think it also is a great reflective moment to ask yourself, how depleted am I? How much can I restore? How much am I getting in my own way? Right. And so when you go on retreat and you're retreating, your food is provided. You don't have to think about a meal. Your bed is there. Where I have been choosing to lead retreats, you have your own room. You might share the cottage, but you have your own room. So there's nobody else's energy in your space. Whether you have your own room always or not, you have a room that you land in and you know you're going to leave. So there's a container and there's a way that you actually can release and unname certain ways you walk through the world.
That sounds beautiful. So you've been leading these for essentially almost 20 years, let's say. Do you have an intention every time you create a new retreat? Is it a different intention depending on the group or how you want to show up or what you hope that people go away with? Or do you not even have hopes for what people leave a retreat with?
My intention is always for people to just connect with themselves and to really be marinated in care of self. And so the intention for the group as a whole is show up with your whole self. And if you are so tired by the third yoga practice and you want to go and nap, go nap. But if you want to just come in the room and lay down on your mat, nobody's watching you. At least you're in the collective with the breath, with the single pointed attention that everyone here is in that desire of, let me be here, let me be here. And yes, I sometimes, this last retreat, I had a real theme, and I'll tell people before they get there, this is what we're going to be together. I don't like people to have the schedule beforehand. I want people to really drop in a way that's not already planning and anticipating. And I'm not trying to withhold, right? What I'm wanting is, oh, that's what happens next. Oh, that's how I'm cared for next. And I basically say, you will be cared for. What you need is here. If you have something that you need and it's not here, let me know and I'll help find it if I can. This place is remote, so most people don't leave the land once they arrive. And there's something to be said for that, right? And so I leave a lot of space for people to uncover whatever needs to be revealed. And yet there's a lot of guidance. There's a lot of meditation. None of it's required.
Yeah.
Just in showing up, I do say in the opening circle, just in showing up, you've already been braver than so many people who had all these excuses why they couldn't be here.
That's right. Yeah. Beautiful. Now, when you did like your first retreat or first few retreats, were you nervous?
So interesting. The first retreat I co-led with a friend.
Okay.
And there were 12 people. I did the opening circle. It went well. And then I had a halo and I knew I was going to get a migraine. So I said to my co-retreater, I was like, I need to go to our room right now. I'm going to be sick. I'll be fine in the morning, but I need to move through whatever this is.
Oh.
And I think she was like, oh my God, I can't do this on my own. I didn't sign up to do this on my own. I was like, I am telling you, I'm going to be fine, but I need to go to the room.
Yeah.
And in the morning, I will be renewed. Like a shedding needs to happen. There's something else like going on. And by the morning, I was fine.
Yeah.
And the rest of the 2 days, 3 days was dropped in and everything was there. But there was a sense body that was like, oh, okay, we're going in on this. I'd already been teaching about 8 years, I think. I didn't get right into it, right? This is my 24th year teaching. So maybe I'd only been teaching 6, whatever. It doesn't matter in that way, but it was magical. I always wanted to co-create with spirit in a different way. And these dozen humans who came were ready to drop in. And we were in the middle of the woods and it was a beautiful space. And I think that what we forget about is nature is so healing. And for some of us, we know this and we return to this, right? I have a little mountain behind my house or hill, whatever. And I ritualistically will walk up it, but it's been raining a lot, so I haven't done it. And then I did it 2 days ago and I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Doesn't matter if it's the same path. I'm coming to it differently today. What am I going to put down today? What is it going to provide me with today? Retreating really allows the brain to go, oh my goodness, I've forgotten. Now may I be willing to remember.
Yeah.
Now may I turn toward myself.
Beautiful. You were just saying that when you walk the path, it's the same path behind your house, but you go with it with a different vision, shall we say, like what is it going to bring to me today? Now, do you do that when you wake in the morning? Do you wake every morning and have something that you say that you put out there for you to connect and drop you into your day?
For a long time, I would wake up and say, Spirit, what kind of magic is going to happen today? And then I would wake up and say, Spirit, I want no information that's not mine to know.
Ooh.
I only want what is necessary for me to know. So I wouldn't get information that isn't mine. And that might sound hooey-wooey or esoteric. For me, though, it was an essential part of operating so that if I met someone, I didn't get information, even if it was for them, that I didn't need. And there was a long time I didn't know I could say that. I didn't know that I could say, Spirit, I appreciate all the uploads, the downloads. And today, just what I need to know. Thank you.
Yeah, I like it. You're creating boundaries for yourself. Spiritual, energetic boundaries. Now, are you getting downloads a lot then? I mean, I know you've put up some boundaries, but was that happening? Were you getting downloads, say, for other people?
Um, that's like it's the discernment in there, right?
Mm,
Maybe it was for me and something I needed to learn. And
yeah,
it seemed like it was about someone else. And that's
yeah.
probably the deep down truth, is that that information would help me. And at certain moments in my life, if I would meet someone and I would get information, and let's say I was with someone else, let's say I met someone's dad and I was with them and I shook the dad's hand and I got like a download of how this man operated, let's just say.
Wow, yeah.
And then later, my friend said, "Oh, this and this happened with my father." And I was like, mm-hmm. Right. So maybe that was a priming for me so that when my friend said it, I could just deeply listen.
Hmm.
And the fixer in me couldn't fix and could say, "I believe you." And how does that feel? Right. As opposed to, "Oh my God, that must have been so hard." No, 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 because I can get into that gear quick.
Uh-huh.
And so unminding that part of me
Yeah,
and minding my own business,
yeah.
I think was that piece that I say when I'm saying it's the discernment of, it might be information for me,
Mm,
but it's like sieving out what is the nugget that's actually true that is mine, and the nugget that just like, okay, and let that go.
it's so good. Having discernment is huge. And I do think that it is a muscle for us to continue building on or building upon for any of us, like, people who are interested in the spirituality space or even personal growth space of like the guides we follow or listen to or study with. Even when someone is like incredible and amazing, to still have discernment around that person and or their teachings, and just to keep coming back to ourselves. It does feel like a muscle to build. And maybe someone like you have been in this space for a long time, so perhaps your muscle is a little stronger for discernment, whereas people who are getting into it or exploring it, it is something to, I think, to have that little piece just like floating around our head somewhere of practice discernment as you're going forward with anything that we learn or we discover or any of the guides. So I love that you brought that up because it's an important one for sure.
There's two aspects of what you just said that I want to address. And one is something when people come on retreat that I say is,
Mm.
you've arrived and now you're at the yoga buffet. There's going to be a lot of yoga. There's going to be a lot of meditation. Sometimes if we've never been to a buffet, we're just throwing a lot of stuff on our plate. We're like, "Oh my gosh, I love sweet potatoes. Oh, wait,
Mm-hmm.
there's mashed potatoes. Oh, wait, there's French fries," right? They're all the same thing. They're potatoes.
Yeah.
They're in different form.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that spirit guides in the form of human are potatoes. What I'm trying to get at is that when we get on this path, sometimes we can feel like we're at the buffet, right? So we try this teacher, we try that teacher. Oh, this teacher affirms everything I know. I'm going to follow that path. Oh, this teacher ridicules everything I know. I'm not going to, right? And at a certain point, and this is where that quiet and we integrate and we co-regulate, pause of like, wait, what is serving me? And why am I serving so much to myself that I almost can't metabolize and digest because there's just so much I understand wanting to learn. Like, I am someone who will never feel like I know enough. I just won't, right? I'm 24 years into yoga and I'm like, who else could I study with, right? And then there's like practice and all will be revealed. Self practice. Something along that lines for me that came to me really clearly, I think it was about 18 months ago, was watch being resourced. Bex, be resourced. Watch what you need to outsource for and remember to be in source.
I like that.
And so there are certain things we need help and support for. And then there's that line where if we don't trust and practice, if you're outsourcing for everything, because you could in this time, you can not just outsource, you can have it delivered, or you can get online and take any class you want. So if you're someone who feels like you don't know enough, it can be really enticing. And again, this is why we pull back. And that's the other part of retreating is pulling back, unnaming, oh, I'm Bex, the daughter or the dutiful wife or the mom or the teacher or the sister or the aunt. Where am I in all? Who am I in all this? And how do I want to be in all of this? And retreating gives you that offer because it gets so quiet that you can find distraction where you can delve.
So if people are not actually going on a physical retreat somewhere, for instance, like if we're not able to go like on a weekend somewhere, do you still see retreating within our everyday for us to be in source and not be outsourcing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The dream that I have for every human is that they could be reflective enough to say, whoa, I just saw the schedule for my day. It looks really overwhelming. I might not be a happy human by the end of the day. So I'm going to wake up 20 minutes earlier. I'm going to meditate. I don't want to meditate, but I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to write. I'll get out my journal and I'm just going to put it down on the page. And you can craft niblets all day long, like a mala, where you're putting bead by bead, prayer by prayer, practice that feels like a retreat. I'm committed to waking up and doing an 11-minute meditation. And then when I feel overactivated during the day, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths. I'm going to tell myself, reroute, right? However it is. And I do believe that you will find support online if you want it for all the ways, right? There are so many apps will guide you through meditation. We'll give you yoga, or we'll give you a 5-minute core breathing, breath work. So it's a gift to be able to take a weekend. And what cracks me up about it is someone will be like, oh, but it's so expensive. And then they have a huge handbag that costs 5 times the amount of a retreat, right? And that's not me judging. That's just saying, watch what you allocate, watch where your transactions go, because the benefit that you yield, right? And you can decide, hey, family, from 9 to 12, I'm retreating today. I'm creating my own little midday long. And I'm doing this so that I'm actually not leaving you all. I'm doing this here so that it's not financially affecting our household. And I'm asking for you all to figure out how life works without me for 3 hours.
Yeah. That's so good. I love that. I love that idea. I love the idea that, again, it's bringing it back to ourselves and not necessarily outsourcing it. Now, do we love the idea of going away for like a retreat and giving ourselves that time to go inward? Of course. It's incredible. It's amazing. And it might not be timing, finances, whatever it is not exactly right for everybody at all times. So the thought of just taking our own daily or even like a 9 to 12, maybe like on a Saturday retreat where we're just giving ourselves that time, what a gift. And also, how fun does that sound?
Well, and the other part of it is you don't need anything. You give them all of your gadgets, all of your distractions.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. You know, I'll never forget when I went on a 10-day silent retreat and the kids and my husband dropped me off and I was like, okay, here's my phone. And my husband was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to the spa.
Yeah.
I'm not ringing you up after my treatments.
Yeah.
No shade on any of that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, this is how much I'm going to connect with myself that I'm disconnecting. I'm unplugging from all of that so I can plug in to something so much bigger that I have to be willing to remember my divine connection. And that is something that can take place anywhere for any amount of time. And it does not cost money.
That's my favorite takeaway, Bex. I love that because I do know, and I'll speak for myself, where many times I think somebody else might have the answer or an action might give me the answer, doing something somewhere else as opposed to just going inward might be the answers to things. But building it into our daily practices, our rituals, and our routines, so it doesn't have to be like, I'm going full speed ahead all year long, and now I'm just going to take 3 days here or 5 days here, or whatever it is. Like making it part of our daily practice is like that big takeaway that I'd love for everyone to hear that and to make the time for ourselves every day to bring that in is just the thing we need to, not we need to, but if you choose to bake into your daily life. How do you, as a guide, detach from outcome? Is this something you've learned? You know, say there's a person who is coming to you saying like, I am now learning how to do Reiki, or I am now learning how to guide people through yoga or guide people through nature walks. And they have that feeling where they want the people who they're working with to go away with a certain feeling. What would you say to somebody to help them detach from outcome as a guide or teacher?
How do you want to share what is the wisdom coming through you and knowing that it's yours and coming from something else, right? And so when someone hears something, oftentimes I don't even remember what I've said in a class, right? And sometimes I'm intentionally redundant, and someone afterwards will say, "Oh my gosh, I just heard you say it's not happening to me, it's happening for me and through me." And I might say that all the time, right? And they heard it on that day. So when newer teachers come, I ask, "What's your motivation for teaching? What's your why? Why do you want to offer the nature walk, the Reiki, the teaching?" And then, it's not about me. That's 100% sure. I didn't invent yoga. You know what I mean? Like these modalities have been around forever. It's just that my vehicle is being a conduit for this information. And it's not so much about me, because I will say the minute you think, oh, and I quote this, like my fingers are in quotes, right? Mm-hmm. It's about my teaching or my students. No, it's not. It's about community. It's about scripture or lessons or sequencing or energy.
Yeah.
And that's a collective, right? That's a co-creation.
Yeah.
That's a divine experience. That's not something I create. Do I facilitate the weekends? Do the students that come, and a lot of them come pretty regularly, say to me, it doesn't matter if it's the same every time. Literally, they will say, it does not matter, because every time they come to it differently. Right? So for me, I'm giving it away in a moment. I'm giving it over, and I'm giving sort of up like my role in it. Because the minute I attach to it or think, oh, they're coming for me, no one will show up in my mind.
Right.
Somebody else will have a different response. But for me, that's the truth.
Yeah.
That's an ego hook. And some people like to say that's an edging God out moment.
That's
or
right.
edging grace out as opposed to calling it in.
Yeah.
And not as a bypass. Because yes, I'm a vessel for it. More as a non-clinging, non-attaching, right?
Yeah. Beautiful. It's beautiful and very helpful too. I just have one more question for you as we wrap this up. It's more of people who are listening right now. What would you either suggest or hope that they could bring into their life or do on a daily basis that can help them feel greater levels of peace and that inner freedom?
I'm smiling because you're like, I have one more question. And I was like, it's going to be peace begins with me. I mean, before you even asked, it's going to be peace. begins with me, right? Powered by peace. That's that one where you can take your thumb to your index finger, your thumb to your middle finger, your thumb to your ring finger, and your thumb to your baby finger. And when we remember, and sometimes we forget, and sometimes we have to remember to be willing to will ourselves that peace begins with me, then we have autonomy, right? Then we're authentic and we're the authority of our life because we know peace begins with me. You didn't steal my peace, right? I was working at a local high school with these kids and teaching them yoga. And, they were not psyched. So I said, okay, let's make an agreement. If I give you more Shavasana, will you do some of the shapes? Yeah. And then we started with peace begins with me. And I said, if you learn nothing from me today, learn that peace begins with you. And here's why: when you go to class and you feel like your teacher is upset with you, if you know that you have peace, you don't have to get upset with yourself, right? You can begin to drop into a space that I'm powered by peace. So we use that mudra of the thumb to the index, the thumb to the middle, the thumb to the ring, the thumb to the baby. We use that mantra to let it absorb inside ourselves so that when we feel triggered, agitated, infuriated, shamed, blamed, that we can return to peace. And we have that ability. And we can almost then laugh at ourselves. Gosh, I was being unkind. I was being rude. And then we can repair because we know we can bring peace. So that's it. That's everything to me, is you have the ability to choose your own adventure, your own response. And when the challenge comes, to say, oh yeah, I have peace. I'm not saying that when things are horrible, you're going to be able to live in a peaceful way, but inside your body, you can see the terror. Like Rilke said, no feeling is final. Experience all the joy, all the terror. So peace, you can nourish yourself.
That is beautiful. Come on, Bex. That's gorgeous. I can't think of a better way to end this. And that reminder that you mentioned with the fingers and even just be able to do that in the middle of the day, anywhere, anytime, sitting in traffic, when you wake up in the morning. It's beautiful. What a gorgeous guide you are, Bex. And I am so happy that our paths crossed, that we met, and I know it will happen again. And I appreciate you being a light holder in this world in your own unique way. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me here on Hold the Light. I so appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. And I appreciate what you're bringing in your illuminated essence to others, to give them a real retreating moment by listening.
Thank you. One thing I want to mention as I close out this conversation is that Bex will be leading a retreat in Bali in March 2025. So if you're interested in joining or you want to learn more, including other ways that you can work with Bex, visit her at bexurban.com or find her on Instagram at Bex Urban. Bex is spelled B-E-X. Thank you for listening to Hold the Light. For more information about this episode and the topics discussed, visit our show notes or find more at holdthelightcollective.com or on Instagram at holdthelightcollective. This podcast is produced by me, Lori Gunning-Grossman. Jonathan Grossman is our co-producer and all-around sound guru. He also wrote the original music. This podcast is recorded and mixed at Night Shift Audio in Los Angeles, California. Finally, if you like the show, please rate, review, and share it with a friend. Let's share the light with each other.